Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast, where each Tuesday, your host, Rick Sayes, gathers around the mic with outdoor industry entrepreneurs, brand leaders, founders, and enthusiasts to share stories from the backcountry, the startup files, and the retail aisles. Rick's guests offer actionable advice to land your ideal industry gig, grow your outdoor career, or plan your next big adventure. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And now, here's Rick.
Welcome to episode 359 of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Tonight I'm speaking with Andy Techmanski from Forloh. Forloh is a relatively new brand in the technical apparel space, and Andy is here to share his inspiration and talk about the unique new products and technologies they have. Hey Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys. You're kind of new on the scene. I always love to learn about new brands. Let's start out with your degree in business management. How did you get into the energy sector with a business degree?
I was working summer jobs as a groundman on a power line crew.
Okay.
And that I stayed with it throughout college and saw it as growing up in a family of entrepreneurs, I saw opportunities in energy infrastructure. And so I grew a career out of it and then, started my own businesses and everything else.
Gotcha. Cool. So entrepreneurial, yeah. How'd you get into hunting? Did you hunt as a kid?
Yeah, multi-generational. We were always hunting with 3 or 4 generations of hunters and started as early as I can remember, 3, 4 years old, going out with a stick, beating bushes and everything.
Right.
Playing bird dog and everything else from my dad and grandfather. So it's been ingrained in me. I learned most of what I know today I hunted with my grandfather more than my dad, just because as I got older and was able to actually hunt, my dad was working. So yeah, it's been a evolution, and hunting's come a long way, since then.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I learned to hunt from my grandfather too. My dad didn't hunt either. My grandfather lived up here in Bishop, so we bird hunted a lot. He took us out deer hunting, and then when he passed, I kind of lost it. I haven't hunted in years, so don't really have anybody to hunt with, so it just kind of went away. But it's fun to learn all those skills from our elders, right?
Oh yeah. Fortunately, unfortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, I never really lost the bug.
Yeah, good for you. No, that's
cool.
Slowed
down a lot in my early career, just because work was getting in the way. But that's why we start companies like Forloh to give us a reason to go hunting.
There you go. So yeah, what was the inspiration behind Forloh?
I was out in the field, and I hunt extremely hard, bushwhack a lot. Montana's can be very treacherous country if you get off the trail, and I spent a lot of money. I'm kind of a gearhead, if you will, and spent a lot of money on gear that just wasn't performing. And I was also into mountaineering, and I saw, mountaineering brands were still incrementally improving in durability, technology, stuff like that. And I was like, why is hunting it seemed like they're on a plateau and they aren't implementing these similar or same methodology in construction of their gear or bringing new technologies to the table. And, spending a lot of money on gear that just wouldn't work all year. So I started to brainstorm the idea, and it was something that evolved over about 5 years before I actually started Forloh.
Gotcha. And where's the name come from? What's Forloh?
Forloh it's an acronym for love of hunting.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, that was a tough one. When I made the decision to start the company, I had to come up with a name.
Right.
And so, it's
never easy.
I thought I had it.
Yeah.
Oh man, every time I thought I had it, I'd get on Google 4 a.m. I'd wake up, I got the name, and I'd look this thing up, and it'd be like some kindergarten in Norway. I'd be like,
Right.
It took like 3.5, 4 months to come up with the name of Forloh. And again, it was a late night. I was like burning the midnight oil on this name. It was a late night deal, and I started putting acronyms together, and I came up with For Love of Hunting. And the interesting part of it goes into the evolution of the company, which I'm sure we'll get into in a minute. But we started on a foundation of hunting. And so for love of hunting literally means for love of hunting. But what it truly was always meant to mean was for love of hunting for your next adventure. So it could be that hunting trip. It could be that hiking trail, mountain bike trail, that ski run, the next stream that you're fishing, the next, fishing hole, whatever, camping spot, so it was meant to always evolve to where we were there with you, no matter what your outdoor adventure was.
I like it. I like the name. It's very cool. It seems like it fits.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. And it's one of those names. I'm sure you went through this too. The other thing you struggle with is it's too long, it's too short, there's too many syllables. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Pretty
try
nuts.
Try to keep it simple.
There you go. Yeah, well, you got it. You nailed it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And a quick pivot here. I read early on that you guys were producing PPE. Are you still doing?
No.
Okay.
No. Early in first stage of COVID, when the Chinese Asian supply chain dried up, and I'm sitting there watching the news, and there's literally first responders, nurses, doctors, all this stuff, wearing trash bags, wearing black hefty trash bags as their medical gowns.
Yeah.
We were like, what the heck is going on? Like, we're still building stuff at the time, outdoor gear. And so we said, what can we do to be a part of this? So we started calling hospitals and medical groups and stuff saying, hey, what do you need? And they told us, hey, we need these, disposable and reusable medical isolation gowns. We just can't get them. And we said, okay, let's take a look at it. And they gave us some to kind of reverse engineer. And, before you know it, we were making them. And
cool.
Inside like a week, 2 weeks. Now, we ended up being the largest domestic producer of medical isolation gowns for about a 5-month period. We made over 5 million. Yeah, we made over 5 million of these gowns. We had about 80% of the total U.S. supply chain ran through our factories. We geared up. We were making 300, 400, 500,000 of these a week. And these were going directly to hospitals. We sold some to the VA, and they were going to the folks directly that needed it, the frontline folks. So, I'd like to say that it was an important mission. I'm sure we had a huge impact. We might have saved lives, probably saved lives in doing so.
Yeah.
So, it's something that we're really proud of.
Yeah, good for you guys. That's awesome. Yeah, we were scrambling there early on in the COVID days. Everybody was just like, whoa, where, what? It was crazy. Yeah, good on you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question, possibly. Which is a stronger drive for you, making technical outdoor gear or making anything in the USA?
It's a tough one because those are two of our three pillars that the company was founded on. So I'd like to say they're equally as important.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
When I started the company, I didn't need to start the company. There was certainly a problem that needed to be solved or tested, on feasibility. Can it be done? And so it was always, we're going to make it in the US or we aren't going to make it at all. And then we learned how difficult it was, and we had to bring a lot of technology back here, a lot of kind of fabric methodology back here, cut and sew technologies back here, so on. There was a lot of stuff that needed to happen for us to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. But, I think it's equally important. We're now making some of the best stuff in the world, some of the most durable stuff. And by the way, the third pillar of that I just mentioned is that we have no concessions. So we are always going to use the absolute latest technology and fabrics. Mm-hmm. We will not make a concession. We will not repackage something and call it something else like others have traditionally. And we're only going to build something to its utmost, as far as technology in today's cut and sew, methodology will take us, to the utmost durability. I'll give you an example. Our stretch woven twill pant, which is kind of our all season pant. It's in the All Clima series. We started building that thing with the industry standard is like using 40 to 60 pound test sewing through your needles, thread through your needles. So that's what we started, and then it wasn't enough. So we kept upping it, and then we ended up with 120-pound test, which is the highest in the world by any means, and that's what we build those pants with. And that that's a testament, because nobody builds their stuff with 120-pound test threads. Just doesn't exist. That's this kind of stuff that goes into like tents and tarps and stuff like that.
Yeah. So did you actually use the same thread that is in tents? I mean, it must have been hard to find for apparel. It was the same
we manufacture our own.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
sense.
But
essentially could be used for tents.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. So did you have to manufacture a lot of your own materials to get stuff made? Or were you able to go to other manufacturers and say, hey, this is what we need. Can you make it?
A lot of what we're building started with a base of U.S. military. So we've started with some base fabrics that are from the U.S. military, but they just weren't enough. The U.S. military makes good stuff, but they aren't best in class in anything. And they use a lot of older technologies. It started the conversation, and then we evolved a lot of those factories. And then I would say probably 60% or better of our fabrics are from scratch developments.
And they're yours proprietary, or do you get them from other factories that then sell them to other manufacturers?
No, they're our proprietary. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, everything we have has technology in it. So, we have licensing, or we've developed the technology and so on.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. And so most of our listeners are familiar with waterproof, breathability, heat retention, moisture wicking, all that stuff. But I don't know anything about scent control. How does that work? How do you control scent? Because that's in hunting, that's like pivotal, right? That's important.
Yeah. So in true Forloh fashion, we picked more than one technology to implement our scent control system, because you're essentially trying to address multiple scents or scent compounds. And in every base layer there is polygene, which is an antimicrobial, which essentially is the stink from sweat. But that's only one variable.
Right.
There's external odor compounds or molecules that attach to fabric. And that happens all day. That happens while you're walking around, brushing up against something. If you walk by a campfire, if you're a smoker, or whatever it might be.
Yep. Adrenaline,
these external molecules,
smell, right?
Yeah. So we use another technology called odor crunch. And what odor crunch does is it attacks those odor molecules that attach to your fabric and assimilates them into carbon dioxide and expels them from the fabric. This happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every time you're wearing it, not wearing it, whatever. This technology is working to keep your scent, neutral. Then in our All Climate series with Trizar, you actually get those technologies plus an additional antimicrobial, which is within Trizar, because part of the metallic compounds of Trizar is zinc. So you're actually getting two antimicrobial technologies and carbon within the Trizar, plus polygene, plus odor crunch. So, I mean, these things are just loaded with technology that never stops working.
That's impressive. And do they also cover odors, like your gear's been in your car, like, fuel and fumes from the vehicle?
Yep.
Wow. That's amazing.
That would qualify as external odor molecules.
Okay.
100%.
Right. Yeah. Right. Wow. Yep. That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're seeing by going the extra in implementing these technologies, that, the feedback that we're getting real world, both from our in-house folks and just from, customers that are loving it, is that they're actually able to go out and wear their base layer stuff, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And so they, for remote trips where weight is a factor, you can pack less. You don't have to pack as many sets of that same gear, because you're going to get multiple days out of it.
Right.
You don't have to wash stuff as much. I mean, that's part of polygene and odor crunch's mantra, is to stay fresh, longer, wash less. So you get, multiple washes, so you're not wearing out your garments either. So you get more life out of them, exponentially longer life out of them. So, it just kind of all feeds into everything that we're trying to do to build something that lasts a very long time for our consumer.
That's huge. And they can use it for all kinds of other activities too, right? Whether they're out running or biking or whatever.
Jackpot. That goes back to the for love of hunting.
Right.
That we're around for everything else. Now, a lot of folks don't realize, because we came out with a lot of the stuff at the end of the summer season, but we actually have this in a short sleeve kind of workout shirt. I use it for working out. We also have shorts that have the same technology, Polygene and Odor Crunch. So yes, we're evolving that way towards, active lifestyle, workout, so on and so forth, because it just makes so much sense that you can throw this stuff in your gym bag and take it out multiple times without smelling like your gym locker or whatever,
Yeah, and you only need 2 or 3 or 4 shirts. You don't need a whole dresser drawer full of shirts. It's awesome.
100%.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love that. I'm going to go on there and do some shit. Let's see. So what other products are you coming out with related to hunting? I thought there was some fishing gear I read about somewhere, but I didn't see that in line. Is that coming, or is that, did I just miss that?
Yeah, no, it's out now.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
Yeah. So we made a pivot this year. We came out with a warm weather collection called the Soul Air collection, which has technology called Burr Pro. We're the first brand to launch Burr Pro. We were one of the first brands to launch Burr, and now Burr Pro is like 700% more effective than the original Burr.
Sorry, how do you spell Burr? Is it Burr as in BRR, Burr as in cold, or is it?
It is BRRR.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Burr has cooling minerals built into the fibers of the fabric. It's sewn in. It's there for life. It keeps your skin temperature up to a degree and a half cooler under heat stress, and it works. And it also accelerates the wicking ability, the wicking compounds of the synthetic that it's married to. So it'll increase the wicking by 300-400% depending on the fabric that we're using, which cools you off quicker, dries you off quicker, and hence a cooling technology. And so we launched that in hooded UPF sun shirts first. We immediately ran out of inventory within 2 weeks. Yeah. Our UPF sun shirts have been our number one seller as a company wide SKU. That so sense, yeah. We've run out of them 3 or 4 times. We've run out of stock. We've had a hard time, keeping up with it. So a lot of them are in our camos, and people are using that stuff for early season archery, warmer climate hunting, stuff like that. It's just killer. It's super quiet. It's really comfortable. It has a scent control technologies in it as well. We have it in a woven for pants, but it's also been a really big hit with the kind of blue water fishing crowd, the fly fishing crowd.
I bet, right.
Because it also boosts the Burr Pro, those cooling minerals boost the UPF rating, and the UPF rating on our shirts is actually like almost 1,000. It's crazy.
Wow.
We can't advertise that, but it's like 900. It's like 962 or something like that.
Wow.
So it accelerates that, which keeps the sun from beating you up and keeps you cooler. So yeah, the blue water fishing crowd down in the Gulf states and stuff have really been gobbling this up. They love it.
I could have used that in Loretto a few weeks ago.
Could have used it in Loretto, and the fishing crowd. So we do have fishing gear, that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
We also launched which is our fully waterproof submersible backpack, and a lot of the fishing guys have been picking that up because they can wear it with their waders. They can put their, tackle boxes, their fly boxes inside. It opens sideways, so you just slide it off one shoulder and slide it into the water, and you can reach in there with it, halfway submerged in the water and change out your flies and stuff like that. We're going to be coming out with some kind of Velcro in fly fishing accessories for that probably early next year.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be a customer. I'll have to go do a little shopping. I'm exploring retiring down in Loretto is where I've been going down there, but the fishing is off the charts.
Gotcha.
It's unbelievable. Love it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Great.
Got my first Dorado a few weeks ago. It's fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah. So I see a lot of opportunity for you guys in other markets. You must be exploring some of that, right? I mean, you don't want to go too fast, too broad, too fast, but that's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we're the premise really behind starting with hunting is that hunting is obviously a sport that requires a high level of durability. So we created a standard that we operate by and build everything from there. So hunters are also higher participation across other outdoor segments like fishing, camping, hiking, mountain biking, all these other things, right? So once we prove to a hunter that, hey, this gear really works, then they'll trust us as we kind of go into these other categories. And, quite honestly, folks ask us, they're like, hey, you're going to come out with fishing gear. Hey, you're going to come out with, hiking gear and this, that, and the other. So, we're trying to build products that are functional across several categories. So again, like I wear my camo, we have solid colors as well, but I wear my camo UPF sun shirt when I'm fishing half the time, because it's a cool shirt to wear.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah.
So we want you to be able to buy our stuff and use it in other activities so that folks aren't feeling like, hey, we're making this investment, and our pricing is premium, we build premium products, latest technology. We want you to be able to use that in other segments. And it's kind of upside down from where the outdoor industry really was, because traditionally the outdoor industry was trying to train the consumer to, hey, you need 7 jackets for 7 things, because they want to sell you 7 jackets, right? You need 4 backpacks for 4 different activities and everything else. So people traditionally got in the habit of like, well, that's my hunting backpack. I use that 3 weeks a year, but I can't use it for anything else. It's like, it was built for that. It's like, no, actually, if you build it right, you can use it for hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, everything, So that's what we're trying to, that kind of thought process from a design standpoint goes into everything we build. And yes, some things are certainly targeted towards hunting or fishing or one single category, but most of that's in the accessories that bolt on to backpacks and everything else, so that you can interchange those things, and use them in other activities.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. And that really saves the consumer, saves you guys, saves the planet, for God's sakes. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. You must have some really wicked smart guys working there to figure all that technology out too. That's impressive.
I've got some very smart people. We're very fortunate. I obviously came in as an outsider. I've been a very quick study. I am our lead designer, lead field tester.
Sure, yeah.
I test every prototype. Everything comes to me first.
Good.
So I run it through the ringer or get it to somebody that can, and then everything trickles down to other testers and stuff from there. But I was able to hire some very smart people that did live in the technical outdoor apparel space for 20, 30, 40 years, and we've assembled this team of designers that have worked for all the big brands, product managers that have worked for all the big brands and everything else. And, when we first started the company, I sat this initial team, half dozen or so people down, said, here's what we're going to do. And that's when I gave them the 3 pillars. I said, we're going to build a no concessions, approach to durability. So everything's going to be only the latest technology. We're only going to build it to its largest or most durable standard that it possibly can be built, and everybody's getting excited in the room. And then I said, and we're going to build it all here in the U.S. And it was like, ooh,
slam
crickets,
dunk.
and it's like,
really?
They had all built certain parts and pieces in the U.S., but not a whole program ever. Right. I mean, these are people that worked for every single major outdoor brand that you can think of.
Yeah,
everyone.
No, it's tough. Yeah, I've been there.
And nobody had tried to do this before. So, so we went down this path to prove it can be done. And now we have a supply chain of somewhere in the vicinity of 3,000 U.S. workers.
Awesome.
That are all adults, mind you, making a fair living wage. I like to mention because the other guys can't make that same claim, so why not make it if you can, and so
you got to beat your own drum at some point.
Hey, it's all only successful if people get behind us.
Yeah, right.
I say that all the time. It's only successful. I can make you a promise that we will always build the best of the best. It will always be the best. It will always be constantly evolving, and we are just charging forward. We're testing new technologies that haven't even hit the market yet. Cutting edge stuff that's made by NASA. And the only thing we ask is for folks. We want to earn your trust and to give us a shot, and we'll continue to build more jobs in America.
That's perfect. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we need a lot more of that. I tell you, I've been on that other side of the fence there on the production, product design side, management side, and It is tough in the U.S., so good on you. You're pulling it off, and you're pulling it off making great products, sounds like, too. So
yeah, well, it's an important, it's an important message, I think. And it's one that people should be talking about, because, the reciprocal effect advantage of buying American is that the money stays here. The money stays here. It goes to the U.S. workers that are working in our factories, and they buy cars, they buy fuel, groceries, vacations, hotel stays, all these things that continue to reciprocate within the U.S. economy. When you buy something that is not made in the U.S., that money goes offshore and it doesn't do any of that stuff. And so we're bleeding money as a GDP, as an export, and it's not coming back. In up till now, or up until 2020, there wasn't a choice, and now there is.
Good for you.
It's important. I like to tell folks that, but it's got to mean more than that, and that's why we are striving to build the best of the best, most premium product.
Yep. Good on you. We're going to take a little break and give some love to our sponsor, Grammarly. If you write as much as I do, it's nice to have a little backup with the spelling and grammar, and I use Grammarly. Their instant grammar checker corrects all grammar errors and enhances your writing. To try it out, go to ricksays.com/grammarcheck and get signed up today. You can thank me later. That's ricksays.com/grammarcheck. Now back to the show. So in the past few years, challenging years as they've been, what have been your biggest wins, would you say? You got the company off the ground. That's pretty huge.
Got the company off the ground. We rapid deployed over 7,000 SKUs across men's, women, and youth. So we were the kind of the first ones to have a full complement of men's, women, and youth. We still got a lot of work to do. The women's and youth are always playing catch up to the stuff. In most cases, some things we launch women first. So those were huge feats to be able to do, to stabilize a U.S. supply chain. That has been a huge, feat in itself. And we had to retrain a workforce that used to making in mass production, highly technical outdoor apparel. So, these things were all, things that we had to overcome. And I think we've nailed it.
Yeah, good for you. What are some of the biggest challenges that you still battle today?
We fight the DoD supply chain. So the Department of Defense, for example, zippers, YKK zippers, because we use, water resistant or waterproof zippers, it's a very small market. And so that's a very small color palette as well. Luckily, it's military colors, which almost mimic some of our base color, palettes. So when the military tends to have huge ebbs and flows. And so they'll go dead for 6, 7, 8 months. And all of a sudden they want 250,000 jackets that they need, 400,000 zippers. And then YKK calls us and said, we can't give you zippers. So, it's still, because at times of the year, we're probably YKK's largest commercial customer. It's still, in its infancy, not so much Forloh, but just the U.S. supply chain for technical parts and pieces. And so that's been something. The other thing is a lot of our trim pieces we end up having to manufacture. So we have to build like die sets, like tooling to be able to build this stuff and like stamp metal and everything else. So there's a lot of stuff that's available, but it's, made in Asia. So we end up having to basically recreate the wheel a lot of times.
That's pretty challenging. Can you talk about any future projects you're working on?
Oh,
without giving any no state secrets, obviously, but
yeah, I got to be careful with the secret sauce. I can tell you, we're getting very close to, like, within days of launching a expedition series is all I'm going to say on that. Okay. And so it is, again, something that is over the top and is going to be weather appropriate for the cold weather climates, I'll say.
Cool.
So keep an eye on that.
We'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. The other thing, and I guess I've already kind of let the cat out of the bag a couple times, is on some of my Instagram live stuff and whatnot, is we've been asked a lot for wool. And I can tell you wool is coming.
Okay.
And it's a completely revolutionary way of looking at wool from a garment standpoint. So it's something that you've never seen. There's going to be huge value in what we're putting together. It can be used in layering or on its own. So that stuff's coming. That stuff we're actually having zipper problems. zipper supply chain. The DoD is slowing us down, but we're slowly getting zippers in.
Yeah, you work it out.
Yeah,
you work it out. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So it sounds like you do a lot of hunting. Do you do any other outdoor activities? Do you ski, or you must hike and stuff a lot? Bike, everything.
I pretty much do it all, man. Mm-hmm. I ski, I mountain bike, I like to cross country ski a lot. I've actually kind of gotten into that a little bit more than downhill the last few years, because I'll cross country ski with my ice fishing gear, my ice fishing sled out into the middle of the lake and stuff like that. I spend a lot of time. I got a boat right now it's down in Florida. I'll start spending a lot of time fishing on that. We're actually participating in several of the billfish blue water fishing tournaments down in Florida this year. So fun. Team Forloh will be down there, and,
cool.
And we'll be bringing our road show down there as well.
Oh, exciting! That'd be good. Well, we'll be on the lookout for that too. I have no plans to go to Florida, but we'll watch it and put it on the website when we find out about it.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor apparel biz? Yeah, don't.
I will tell you this. When we got into this, we absolutely got into it to not hurt any of the other brands out there.
Mm-hmm.
We were starting something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Made in USA, using different technologies, so on and so forth. There's a lot of room in the industry for others.
Mm-hmm.
And our primary goal was just to educate the industry that, hey, if we can find a way to do this and build something, as good or better than then you guys could do it here as well. So, if nothing else, just to be a leader in the Made in USA segment. I will say building technical outdoor apparel is extremely expensive. So if for anybody thinking about getting into it, you better have your financing in order, because it is a long road and it is a very expensive road.
Yep. Yeah. That's why the gear is so expensive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the reasons anyway. A little different question here. Do you have a favorite piece of outdoor gear that you purchased for under $100?
Our UPF sun shirt, hands down.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. That's a good one.
That
was easy. I'll have to look for one of those and pick one up. And are you a big reader? Do you read a lot? What are a couple of your favorite books?
When I was reading a lot of books, which I don't read as much as I'm reading more like technical books.
I was going to say, you're probably pretty busy. Yeah.
Yeah, they aren't as fun as they used to be. I read a lot of industry books and stuff now and whatnot, but I used to be into a lot of the kind of outdoor adventure books and stuff like that. The Huck Finn sort of stuff, the Hardy Boys and stuff like that used to be my jam. And anything that was like outdoor survival stuff like that. Those are the books that I always gravitated to.
Do you have anyone that was a favorite that rises to the top that you can think of?
I can't really think of one off the top of my head.
There's so many good ones. Yeah.
I know.
I read a lot of those too. As we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say or ask of our listeners?
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. We have 2 stores. One is in Whitefish, Montana. Mm-hmm. The other store is in Austin, Texas. And of course, you can find us on www.forloh.com. We also have our road shows. We have 2, sometimes 3 road shows going around the country. They'll be ramping up this fall and throughout the winter. Most of the prominent hunting shows, some of the fishing shows and fishing competitions down in Florida as well. But they're also going to evolve over what they did last year. And we're going to start to blog a lot more of where they are and where they're going, so folks can reach out to them and they can literally stop off an exit and people can get hands-on product and get their sizing and stuff like that. I tested it a little bit, just kind of impromptu, when I brought my Forloh RV down to Florida, where it sits right now. I took it off the ranch in Montana, and I just kind of last minute said, "Okay, Founders Tour, I'm going to Florida," and I had people,
cool.
I had people pinging me and stuff. So I met a guy, in Sioux City, Iowa, that, we hung out for about an hour and a half. He tried on all sorts of gear and stuff, and it was great. I was supposed to meet some other people, but when I went through Nashville, it got to be late. But, we're going to evolve the road shows into doing that, so where folks can kind of get a white glove treatment and just try stuff out and get hands on it.
Yeah, very cool. Kind of grassroots. Yeah, I like it. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. Well, I'll be down in Austin. I'm speaking at the running event here in a few weeks. I'll definitely pop in that store and check stuff out.
Yeah, do that. And, always keep an eye out. I'm more active on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So, my handle, I tend to show people a little sneak peek of prototypes and stuff that we're working on. I'm going to start getting more active doing live events and stuff like that. Just, more religiously, kind of once every couple of weeks. And then we're also going to start doing some more contests over the winter. Some will be to come fish with us down on our boat's name is Forloh Life, to come fish with us down there. So we'll do some contests around that this winter. And then we're going to, do some contests to, come hang out with us on the Forloh Ranch and stuff like that next fall.
Very fun. What's that Instagram handle?
Well, Forloh's is Forloh_official, and mine is just Andy Techmanski.
Okay, gotcha. And we'll put that in the show notes too, so people can keep an eye and keep on track. Well, awesome, Andy. It's been great talking to you and learning about Forloh. Sounds like you guys are doing a bunch of exciting stuff. I'll keep an eye on that and pick up some of that gear. And if you ever find yourself in Bishop, give a holler. A lot of outdoor stuff, a lot of fly fishing goes on here. Some hunting also, a lot of hunting, yeah.
Well, hunting's been on my radar in California for a while.
Cool.
It's been about 20 years since I went hunting out there. So, yeah, I'm well overdue.
Right on. Well, come on down.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Andy. It's been great.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Be sure to visit our website, theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you'll find show notes with links to everything we talked about and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or spread the word and tell a friend about the show. That would really help us out too. Be sure to tune in every week. And thanks again for listening to the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Rick Sayes.